This episode is in partnership with Authority Magazine. Authority Magazine, a Medium publication, is devoted to sharing in-depth and interesting interviews featuring people who are authorities in business, pop culture, wellness, social impact, and tech.
Now, here's an interesting question. How would you like to be a chief heart officer?
And here's another question. What in the heck does a chief heart officer do? Well, if the CEO is the exec and the CFO takes care of the finances, let's just say the CHO takes care of the well-being. And that's vital to any business.
Because today we're going to meet Claude Silver, the Chief Heart Officer at Vayner Media, to discuss and discover just how important well-being is. Claude, welcome to Believe in People.
Thank you so much. I believe in people, so it's an honor to be here.
Well, we're happy to hear that because sometimes, life gets challenging and it's sometimes hard to muster up that belief. But I want to get right into it. I want to ask you, how do you enable and empower others to lead with their hearts in a working environment?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would say leading by example. I don't know how to be any other way. So this is who I am. And my hope is that maybe a couple people catch the flame and it excites them. But really, it's modeling behaviors and it's spending enough time with people to understand what might be preventing them from going there, what might be preventing them from saying hello to someone or for holding the door open or doing something kind. Because as we know, not everything that happens at work has to do with work. It has to do with the world in which we live in, triggers and whatnot. So I think consistency is key. The way we show up, being someone that other people want in the room is incredible. And when you start to be that person, you can tell the energy you bring into a room. And so that's really what I want to share with other people and empower, that you have so much ability and influence over other people. Why not see the best in people? Why not see us all as magnificently work in progress?
Claude, you are the Chief Heart Officer, which is an interesting phrase in today's world of high finance and that sort of thing. Have you just described to us what a Chief Heart Officer does?
Partially. I mean, the Chief Heart Officer, for me, I am here to be of service. I am here to work with and work for all of the human beings that are here. I'm lucky enough that I've had a lot of life experience in holding space and creating space for other people. I wanted to be a psychotherapist. I was a coach for a very long time. So for me, putting other people's heart, putting their purpose, their passion, or helping them find their purpose or their passion is really, really exciting to me. And if I can do that in a workspace that has a domino effect of actually seeing them be successful in the workplace and the workplace being successful, it's a double whammy, right? So for me, I'm dealing with everything from recruiting, retention, learning and development, DE&I, strategic global advancements we're making, different products that we're putting out there, anything that has to do with people and the experience that they have here within these four walls, from the minute they join us to their last breath, and actually beyond, because we have a very, very bountiful alumni program here. So it's really being empathetic, and I know that's a word that's used often now. Empathy is the feeling. The action is kind and compassionate with people, and that is something that I really enjoy bringing.
And I'm really curious, Claude, because right now, so you work for Vayner Media, and you have, I think there's about 2,000 humans that you light up within any given day, I imagine. With the company, you have a lot of responsibility. Where did this journey, how did you get there? How did you get to become Chief Heart Officer? I know you mentioned that you've had a lot of experiences, but I'm really curious.
Yeah. So I worked in advertising for a very long time. I was very fortunate, had a great career as a strategist. So I was in the front of the house. I was working with clients every day and helping them figure out the strategy for their product to go to market, all digitally. I've never done anything on TV or whatnot. I found that job, right place at the right time, San Francisco, 1998, when the dot-com boom was happening, and there I was and needed a job. I had this really wonderful career. My best friend introduced me to Gary Vaynerchuk in 2013. I was living in London. One thing led to another. We connected, and I started here in May of 2014. So 9 years now. And very soon after I began, it became apparent to Gary and his brother that there was something here. There was something other than me being able to get in front of clients, that there was an attraction that I had and that other people had to come to me for mentorship and coaching and just, life experience chats and whatnot. One thing led to another. And I said to Gary on my year Vaynerversary, thank you so much. I love this place, but I don't want to do advertising anymore. And he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I only care about people. I only care about the heartbeat of this place. Heartbeat. And one thing led to another. And soon enough, he came to me one day and he said, that's it. You're going to be Chief Heart Officer. And for me, it's an enormous honor because he's put so much belief and trust in me to really be him in those rooms, but in my way. And, it's something, I started, we were 289 people. We're 2,000 people globally right now. We've had so much expansion, and there's enormous amounts of longevity here. Most people are here from 4 years to 10 years. And so imagine all of the osmosis learning we have here, all of the shorthand and the emotional efficiency we've created and the bonding and the friendships. In fact, we've had some marriages here, and one of the marriages just resulted in a little baby. So it's our first Vayner baby. That really is a Vayner baby. So Gary came up with the name. He likes to brand things, and it made sense for me, not only because I said I only care about the heartbeat of this place, but for me, that is culture. The culture is the heartbeat. It is the vibe. It is the pulse of what is going on within the walls, within the grouping of people.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something about us as a society or societies. And obviously it comes out of, frankly, the pandemic that we've just lived through, the fear that people seem to have at the fore of their lives these days, be it fear of other countries, be it fear of the weather, be it fear of AR-15s. Have you found, doing what you do, have you found that we have become more cocooned as a result of what has happened to us in the last few years? Are you finding it more difficult to find people's hearts because they're so walled off from everything around us? I'm just wondering if you actually have a little bit of a hope for us as people.
I have a lot of hope for us. I will say we have so many Gen Zers here in the house, and they are not walled off. These people want to share everything with you. Their hopes, their dreams, their disappointments, their frustrations, their anxieties. And then that gets to the next question, which is, well, how much emotion is too much emotion to bring into the workplace? So that's a whole nother question that you didn't ask, but that's one that I am asked quite a bit. We do have a lot of anxieties, I think, at a whole, and rightfully so. Yes, I could say 50% of the time people are cocooned. There's more isolation. There's more alienation. We've all hidden behind our phones for so long and behind a screen. I have no idea how tall you are. You have no idea how tall I am, those types of things. However, when you get into the culture, when you come to work, when you go to your church, when you go to your soccer practice, whatever it is, your kid's birthday party, you will find other people that are right there with you. You know, our lived experience is not that different, right? I mean, yes, it is, but it's not. We've all been in this pandemic and out of the pandemic now for, for a year or so. But you'll find, I believe, that other people catch other people's emotions. There's an emotional contagion. And we talked about this in the beginning, the first question. When I walk into a room, I am aware of the energy I am bringing, and I am aware that this energy might take flight in a very positive way for other people. When I walk into a birthday party or a church or this office, I am aware that people are picking up on my vibe. I am aware when I'm looking at my phone and don't say, excuse me, and don't say, hey, how are you, after someone says to me. So to really round out this answer, it's all about awareness of others, awareness of the introvert on the screen, awareness of the person that has chosen to not show up in the office for 3 weeks, even though we ask people to be here 2 days a week, awareness of the people that are in the kitchen getting together and they're having a bake sale. So I think there's an enormous amount of responsibility on humans, but on leaders today to be not only aware of self, which is hard enough, but to be aware of others. And then again, to consistently show up in a way that is going to be inclusive, not exclusive.
Yeah. And actually, and Claude, I want to pick up on what you said. How much emotion can we bring into the workplace?
So for me, it is all about emotional regulation. And this is something that we are taught in several different ways throughout our lifetime, or we're not. Either you pick it up when you're a kid or you don't. Your parents don't have boundaries. Maybe you don't have boundaries. What happens when you get into the workplace is either you have that self-awareness and you understand how much to show, how much not to show, how much to save for your therapist, how much to save for your best friend, or you let it all out. And when you let it all out, which people do, then I think it's up to us as leaders, your people department, someone that cares, to help someone put it back together in a way that doesn't isolate them and say, you're wrong. Never bring your vulnerabilities in here. But hey, I got your back. There's a time and place. Let's go for a walk. So of course, we're going to bring emotion in. We were told to not bring emotion in up until very recently. And until Gen Z really entered the workforce, there was no emotion. You and I we weren't asked how we felt in the workplace. No one cared if I had a splinter. Now, everyone has splinters. And so my job right this minute, to be metaphorical about it, is to say, I hear you. You got a splinter. There's a first aid kit right over there. Rather than saying, let me give you a Band-Aid. Let me give you a Band-Aid. Now it's, hey, I got you the first aid kit. Go take care of it. And that's a way to empower them to also be an adult, get it together, right?
Conversely, how do you feel when you pass someone in the hall or in the park on the path and you smile at them and you say good morning and they look at their feet and keep on going?
Today, I passed someone who had most likely, I would say, been sleeping on the street for a good 9 months, if not longer, as I was walking to get coffee. And I said, this is very vulnerable of me to share, but I'm going to share this. God is in everyone. God is in everyone. God is in everyone. God is in everyone. And that's what I did as I walked by that person. So I flipped the switch on you just then, because I can't control what another person does. If they're going to look at their feet, they're going to look at the sky. But I can control what I'm thinking and what I'm saying and the energy I am putting out there.
Bravo. There's an answer that I wasn't expecting. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's so true, right? Because we tend to not take responsibility for our own emotional being. And so, Claude, why are we so lousy at making people feel validated? Like, what is that about?
Because we weren't validated. Because we probably, in totality, generalization, weren't validated or didn't get what we needed Our mommy and daddy didn't come to the soccer practice, or maybe I never made it first, second, or third place and I didn't get a trophy. I mean, there's so many things that happen in your family of origin, and then your chosen family, and then your relationships. There's so much relational intelligence out there that is needed today, I think, to operate and just walk down the street in many, many ways. First and foremost, there's 5 generations in a workplace. That is a lot, especially when you have Z and X, or Z and boomers. Forget about it. You got to be kidding me. You have a splinter? Get out of here, right? At least I'm saying there's a first aid kit. Boomers, like, you've got to be kidding me. Don't even come here, right? So there's that. There's understanding that we, younger people, I would say mostly, come to work to get all of their needs met. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. They didn't get them met. They didn't get them met at college. They didn't get them met with their boyfriend or girlfriend this morning. I don't know. And work cannot accomplish meeting all your needs. Just like your relationship cannot accomplish meeting all your needs. And so we need to widen the camera lens right now and make sure that we're looking out and seeing, like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm putting all of this burden on this workplace to even help me find my purpose, to help me get my next job, to help me do this, that, and the other. That's a lot. So I don't have the answer other than we all have, I say this all the time. We are wonderfully messy, all of us. I enjoy the mess. It's an honor for me when someone brings me into the mess. I have learned boundaries at this point in my life. And so I see myself as a passenger with people, never riding with them. I don't sit on the seat with them. I don't steer the car. I'm either there or I'm in the back seat if they want me to be. And I will validate them to a point. What I will say to them is, you matter. That's what I can say. I will tell you that right now. You are safe. I got your back. In these 4 walls, I got your back. There's nothing you can do that we cannot put back together. You can't break anything here. There's solutions to everything except for health. And I got you. I'm going to hold you here. I'm going to be your passenger. And then you're going to spread your wings and you're going to fly. And that's very idealistic too, but it's not a utopia here. It's not a utopia. We're trying, I think, to figure this all out. As Kevin says, we are in uncharted territory.
How about discipline, though? Doesn't that play a role in it? I mean, people do screw up.
Discipline as in rigor?
No, I mean discipline as in facing the consequences of your actions.
Well,
that's a generation I came from. You screw up,
yes,
you're out.
That's not how it is here. What we ask people to do and what we are teaching people in actual training in the curriculum is accountability. We have foundational competencies that every single human being in this office has, whether or not you're an executive or you're a junior copywriter. Every single role, every single department has foundational competencies. They are leadership, growth mindset, communication, and accountability. And we train you on all of those. We ask people to learn how to be accountable, to say, I goofed, I added an extra zero. We just charged the client $1 million rather than $100,000, things like that. It's not one and done. You are not out. You are definitely given another chance. Sometimes you're given more than 1 or 2 chances, but we do have a limit. I mean, we absolutely do. We don't, I think the fine line that we're talking about here is coddling and empowering. Entitlement and allowance. And we're doing this all day long. You and I are doing this, this is how we live.
It's a job. But it's not playtime.
No. This is a job. This is a job, and we are successful, and we aim to be even more successful. However, our success comes from humans.
Exactly. And it's so true, because I absolutely love, and I agree with this, is that it should be people first, then the customer, then the leadership. And I mean, that's a way in which to build an organization. However, it's funny because Kevin, many weeks ago, we had a guest on, and it was actually a rhetorical question. Kevin said, name one company in the world that grows leaders. And so I don't know, Claude, about if you know this or not, but you're an anomaly. I mean, this doesn't happen. So what can you do to spread the word? Like, I mean, I know it's through your actions. You are unbelievably inspiring, and I learn a lot from you on LinkedIn. That's so important, your messages. So what other ways are you able to spread this word to help other organizations just not treat people so poorly?
Well, we're going to change it. If we change it within our lifetime, it will be the happiest day of my life outside of my two girls being born. Really, I'll be so happy for their generation. But we are on the precipice of a paradigm shift. We really are. It's just taking a lot of elbow grease in ways that I think this world has needed. I really do. I really, really do. So to answer the question, I speak a lot. You know, I'm offered and asked to go to conferences and speak. I'm writing a book, which I'm really happy about. I write on LinkedIn, and I'm not one of those people that's going to, you know, put my cape on and say, you know, follow me or any of those things. I just, that's not who I am.
You're an action person. You're about action, Claude. You really are.
I'm an action person. And, you know, my grandmother, Nana, who died at 101 a few years ago, was my best friend, my person. And I'll just tell you this very short story. Most generous person I'd ever met in my entire life, emotionally generous, right? And she was born in 1911. She had seen a lot. When I would take her to Trader Joe's or the flower store, whatever, we'd walk in, Kevin would give her her flowers, and she would look up at Kevin and see his name tag and say, Kevin? And Kevin would say, uh-huh. Would you do me a favor and have a peaceful day? And walk out of the flower store.
That's amazing.
If that's not a mic drop.
Seriously.
A minute ago, you mentioned how we couldn't see all of you. At this particular moment, why don't you just, because you talk about messages and words, just stand up a little bit and show us your word of the day. There it is.
Love. Love. Love.
And, you know, isn't it funny? We had David Fishoff on here a while ago, who spent a lot of time managing Ringo Starr. And I don't know if you know anything about Ringo Starr, but he ends everything with peace and love. Every time he says anything, he says peace and love. John and Yoko, war is over if you want it.
Yep.
You know, all of these kinds of phrases. And, you know, love, I don't know if people think it's become a little overused or what have you, but it does have that visual effect when you see it. And now I have a funny story that I will keep short, and that is one of my favorite musicians is a woman named Kathleen Edwards. She is out of Ottawa, Ontario, but she's quite big everywhere because she's very good. She came out with an album that was called Total Freedom. It had something to do with relationships and becoming an adult. And she sold t-shirts. So I bought, when I went to see her show, I bought a t-shirt that said Total Freedom. And then the pandemic happened, and the phrase total freedom took on a whole new meaning that was never intended by anyone. And the next thing I knew, I was getting like abuse on the street because I was wearing a t-shirt that said total freedom, which in my view is, you know, a pretty altruistic kind of view. So that's the end of that story, except for to say, I don't know if total freedom will ever come back, but love is one of those things that I guess, as a phrase, is never going to go away. I hope. Is it?
Hope not. I hope not. There can never be too much love. There's a scarcity out there. We need to open up the well, let it out again. You know, open up the well, open up the faucet, let it out. We're so afraid, myself included. I'm not perfect, myself included. I've got my own fears of intimacy and relationship. I mean, I'm normal.
Yeah.
But when we walk by that person on the street and remember that our circumstances are different, extremely different, but we're still humans. He still has red blood in his veins, and so do I. I've just I was very fortunate to be born to my wonderful parents. I was very fortunate to be born a white woman. I was very fortunate to have the opportunities that I've had. But we're still the same, and we all need love. We all need warmth. We all need to know that we matter to people. And I will beat that drum. I will continue beating that drum. And by the way, I would love to be a drummer like Ringo Starr, as you bring him up. But I will. What else is there?
Exactly. And actually, to that point, and I know you've answered this question. As a matter of fact, you answered the first sentence when we welcomed you on Believe in People. But we ask and in any event, we ask our guests every week, why do you believe in people? Can you elaborate more on that thought, that thinking?
I believe in people because I believe at our core we are good. We are wounded and we are trying to find our way back home. All of us, whatever home is. I believe in people because we have enormous influence over each other. And my belief and my hope and my dreams and desires is we use that for good. We use that to not create tribes and tribalism, but we use that to create community and partnership.
We have to end it here, but you just used the magic word, community. And that's basically what this little podcast is all about. And each week we are so fortunate to spend a half hour with people like you, Claude. Thanks so much for sharing your insights and your hope for the future. Oh, what was the thing your grandma said?
Would you do me a favor and have a peaceful day?
Perfect way to end this. Thank you,
We'll leave
Claude.
it there. Thank you.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you both.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Well, once again, I have run across someone who has managed to teach me something positive in the short space of a half hour, which is kind of like a half hour coffee conversation with a random person in a random cafe somewhere. And I am leaving feeling much more positive about things. And I've learned some things, which is just great, Amy.
And I know, Kevin, Claude leaves us feeling that when you take responsibility for walking in the room or being in an environment where somebody looks at you and they may not smile or say hello, when you return that, or when you say, hello or smile or something positive, it lifts and lightens the environment. And I think that when we take responsibility for our own energy, then that really goes a long way. So Claude, we are so grateful for you being on our podcast. Thank you. And if you've liked this podcast, please, we encourage you to subscribe to Believe in People, because we believe in you. Take care.
Thank you.